Hey guys. So, I wasn't really planning on making a video, but somebody commented on my last video and said he wanted to see some me talk about my past experiences. So, I've been trying to think of a video idea, and I pretty much went into all my struggles in my previous videos. Um, so, I had to really think about a topic, and I was just thinking about one of the types of videos I've come across a little more common these days, and that's being 30, 33, or being in your 30s, maybe even in your 40s if you're older than me, having no friends. So this is a story about how pretty much I don't have any friends and kind of what has for some reason my eyes bloodshot. Anyways, uh, so yeah, this is about me. What kind of happened in my situation? So I used to actually have a pretty good amount of friends. Growing up, I used to be slow at, well, I can't say used to. I am slow at reading. I'm not sure if I could ever get better at it, but I think it's more of an attention thing. Because it really can depend on my brain function, how fast I read. But a lot of times I'll just I can like read a bunch of sentences and it just will not register in my mind. I'll just be reading it, especially if I read out loud. If I read them silently, I can absorb a little bit better. But when I read out loud, I'm focusing on the fact of what I don't know, the act of me saying it. I don't know. But anyways, so yeah, I guess I was in special ed classes because of that, and maybe I was a little slow at learning, at least at first, and so yeah, they put me in special ed classes, and I had an attitude problem. I remember that was one of the things. I didn't like to listen, and that pretty much never changed all through school. Um, yeah, I've always hated authority. I've always hated. I've never liked teachers trying to talk down to me. So yeah. Um. So yeah, I've always gotten to know the weird kids. I've always been around the weird kids, and I consider myself the weird kid. And because I was in special ed for so long, I actually used to think I was always stupid. I always thought I was like retarded, slow, whatever. Over time, I realized when I actually dabbled back into regular classes, I found myself, at least by high school, it did take me a little bit. I kind of found myself to be smarter than a lot of people, and it was kind of weird because up until about high school, I felt like I was always like behind, like I couldn't grasp anything, but it was mainly because it was boring to me. I didn't really feel the need. I've always been good at math, and I always found that weird. It's like, how can I be good at something that everybody sucks at, and yet I can't grasp other things like social studies and problem solving. It's because I got so wrapped up in the boringness of it. But anyways, um, yeah, later in life, I kind of realized, I'm like currently I play puzzle games, strategy games, not regularly because it's hard to get into a game. It takes a lot of like investing mentally into these games, and I just don't have the patience for them. So I rarely play strategy games, but I really want to get into them more often. I might try the Civilization games. I love XCOM 2, Mario Rabbids. I still got to play the new Mario Rabbids game. But yeah, other than that, I've always been around the other kids, and all my friends were also in special ed classes. And we were just like, I considered myself, when I eventually got a bunch of friends, I considered myself the king of the nerds or king of the weirdos or whatever. I kind of was the guy that everybody went to. Like everybody went to my room when I lived with my mom, of course, and because this was middle school, and so I was always, the guy that everybody hung out. Like everybody went to my house for some reason. I never really understood it, but I think because maybe it was just a laid back environment. I don't know, but I always drew people in. I felt like a leader. I always took pride in my name, Josh, because it like meant leader or something, and I always felt like a leader. Because I always felt like I was always the guy that kind of brought groups together. Back when I first made my name, The Social Reject, started as Raging Reject, and Raging Reject was based on my group that I created. And back in the day, I created this group called We the Rejects. I think it was the Gamer Rejects at first, and then I changed the name to We the Rejects because I thought it sounded cool. And of course, that was based on the Devil's Rejects. I just wanted to use the Rejects part. And I love the movie Devil's Rejects, and I love just the way it sounded. So I managed to friend a bunch of people. I would randomly spam friend requests to people. I met a lot of good people that way, honestly, trying to recruit people into the group. I did it in kind of shady ways, but I got that group going, and eventually I got this big YouTuber. I haven't seen him in forever, so I don't know. Alpha Omega Sin. I got him in the group, because I had him on Facebook. And then we had a falling out because apparently he thought I was talking about him behind his back, and then he got all his friends to pretty much sabotage my group, and he had his own group. And then we kind of split off, and we had a big falling out of that. That was crazy. I'm not going to get into that too much. But yeah, I was good about, getting topics for the group, and I would get people talking, and I was good at bringing people together. So that's one of the things that I used to love to do. Of course, over time, that the falling out with him and him pretty much getting all his followers to pretty much troll me and stuff, and that was one of the seeds planted in me, kind of like being antisocial as I am today. But getting back into school, I used to, I had like one friend when I moved at a certain place, and then he had a bunch of friends, and then he introduced them all to me, and it kind of spread that way. And I had the same group of friends throughout school, but eventually when we grew up, we all moved away. The gay friend, the black friend, and the computer tech friend, I guess you can call them. I'm trying to not be basically saying their names, but kind of describing them. We all moved separately. We all, one moved to Louisiana for a little while. One moved to Mobile, Alabama. Actually, both of them moved to Louisiana at different points. But now he lives in Mobile, Alabama, and I live in Tennessee now, and I kept moving north and north and north, and he kept moving south and south and south, and my other friend, the tech geek, keep moving, west. Yeah, west. So yeah, we all just like spread apart, and I just got kind of resentful over time because it's like I was always the guy reaching out. Sometimes, well, it depends. I was never the guy that called. I was never the guy that maybe, I don't know. I'm not good at calling, but I always try to say, hey, if you want to hang out sometime, we should make plans. I was not afraid of doing stuff like that, but I would never like reach out necessarily. But when they did, I would always be up for, us doing something, but it just never led to anything. They was always busy, or they was always having something. My other friend, the gay friend, he would always see his other friends, and he would go to places and he would see them, and I'm like thinking to myself in the back of my head is like, what about me? You hadn't even tried to see me. We haven't seen each other in years. And then the last time I seen him was me going down to see him. And I'm like, you're not even going to bother to try to make a trip to see me. It's like, really? So yeah, after so many, like about, I would say about 3 or 4 years ago, my last attempt of trying to get him to, I was actually going to see him again. It wasn't about him coming to see me, but I was actually planning on maybe it was a halfway point I was planning, but I was actually trying to plan something. And he was like, "Oh, he's working." He didn't say it like in a dickish way, but like, um, it's just like it got to the point where it felt like it was just a effortless struggle, or a never-ending struggle. Yeah, I guess that would be the way to say it. And over time, I kind of realized something, but I'm gonna get into that in a second. But I've also changed over time. Whenever I got married, I pretty much kind of kept to myself. I haven't really socialized with anybody. But yeah, and the black friend, our falling out was the most recent. It was right before I moved to Tennessee, because I'm from Alabama. Before I met my ex and I moved up to Tennessee with her, I pretty much had him living with me. I got him his permit, his license. His parents never really did anything for him. His parents are poor and stuff, so I don't totally blame them, but I wanted to help him out and get his life together. And he had no real drive, and he also didn't have connections. It was a little bit of both, but I would say in his situation, it was more to do with help, because he had really no help, and he didn't. He's kind of like me. We're just kind of hopeless on our own unless we're kind of pushed. But I try to get him his like I said, and try to get his. I let him drive my car. Got him several jobs where I worked. About 3 different jobs that I worked at, that I got him there. And I always try to help him out as best I can. But when he was staying with me and all that time, he never once offered to pay rent. He never helped out. I always had to ask him, "Hey, can you help me out with some rent this month?" And it just got to the point where it was like I kept having to ask him, and I kept having to ask him. And it just got to the point where I was resenting him more and more and more over time. And even before that, I was kind of resenting him because he never wanted to really do anything. He was always negative. I am an empath. My energy reflects other people's energy. So it's like, if you're a negative person, I'll start to become negative myself. And I don't like that. I hate that feeling. I do not like to be in a negative space. So I either keep to myself or I try to focus on something positive. I'm an optimist, or I try to be. I am negative a lot by nature. It's just because, depression and, life situations and stuff like that. But I choose to try to think positive in every situation. And of course, the last few years, especially after going through this last breakup, it's been like been very hard to be positive. But me trying to become this new version of myself, the version I've now see for the first time in my life, the me that loves myself, that actually loves to see what he sees in the mirror, seeing that I'm capable of being something I never even tried to be before. Everything's going to change soon, hopefully. I'm in the process of big changes, with this weight loss and Nofap and all that. But yeah, one of the things, though, there's something I've thought about when I realized I don't have any friends anymore. It is not really all on them. I don't blame just them. I also blame myself. I looked at previous videos. I thought about the past. When I watch some of my older videos, I'll notice my energy, my positivity, the light in me was brighter. And over the years, I've just seen people's natures more and more and more. I've seen women's natures. I've seen just even guys. People are selfish. People will stab you in the back. People only care about themselves Even if they seem like they care about you, it's only because you bring something to them. You bring a light to their life. So they're using you in a way, in a good way, but they're still using you. Everybody has an agenda, it seems like, And, it's like dating. Dating really doesn't matter unless you're attractive enough to them, It's like no matter what, you have to be attractive to them. Even if they say looks don't matter, you're still attractive to them in some way. Yes, you can get by on personality a little bit, but you still have to be at least somewhat attractive. But yeah, for your personality to run through, you have to actually have a really good personality, which requires some self-love, I would say, for the most part. But yeah, my self-esteem has just gotten lower and lower over the years. It's weird. It's like I've gotten better and better with women because of experience and dating and all that. I've gotten worse and worse with friendships. Everybody moving away, and then everybody showing me their selfish natures and just kind of like losing interest in me, and it's not just my friends, but I'll just see other people, and I'll just see like the true nature. Like I'm all about perspective. I'm all about observation and psychology. So I look into people's like natures, and I'm like, I'll see like the true goals of people, and it's usually dark, and it's like, and I'll see all these people, and it's like no matter like what age, it's like all these people getting divorces and all these people getting cheated on, and it's like, and the reasons why they're getting cheated on, and it's like this world is so fucked up, It's like, it makes me so sick. It makes me not want to be friends with anyone. It makes me not want to be in love again, because it's like you only matter if you're valuable to somebody. You can't just matter because you're nice. You can't matter because you're trying your best. If you struggle having a charming personality of some kind, if you're not like cute or something, you don't have nothing. You're just like, you repel people, and it's like, I live in that situation. But then I realized something. This all comes back to Nofap. This all comes back to my porn addiction and what I've learned about what porn does to your brain, what porn does to your spirit, what porn does to your, I guess, pheromones. And it kind of made me realize, it's like, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to get into, I've never truly gotten into this point. It's something I've researched with Nofap. And that is, when you hold your seed in for a certain amount of time, your seed has the power of life itself. And you have such a force, and it's also a spiritual practice. Now, the spiritual practice I can't really get into as much, but if you hold your seed within like 8+ days or whatever, and you, over time, when your, I guess, sperm develops or whatever, and your inner positivity shines through, you start to become your full self. You're full of life. You're full of your seed to give life, or whatever, however you want to say it. You become this beacon of light, and that reflects in the spiritual realm. The part we don't see. We connect with everyone on a spiritual band or whatever frequency. So it's like, that's something we can't really see, but it happens. Like I said, I'm an empath. I am affected by other people's moods. So it makes sense why, if I'm in a really good mood, I put other people in a good mood, if it's powerful enough. And I've seen it on about 2-week Nofap journey. Usually, it's usually what it takes, and that's when I start noticing people just gravitate towards me. There's a magnetism that you get if you have enough, and I'm wondering, for those of you who aren't addicted to porn, who may not be depleted like a porn addict is, I wonder if y'all have some sort of power within you. It's not really a power. It's just like, it's more of like where it's like, the benefits to a nofapper is just becoming normal. It's not a superpower. It's just becoming normal. It's because we have lived in this shell state. It becomes a superpower to us, and it's such a it's the cure for almost everything. A lot of people in the nofap community love to say nofap is not the end all be all. It's not the magic tool that you need. But I actually disagree entirely with that. When everybody tries to make it to where nofap isn't going to make a difference alone, when it actually is, because the other things aren't going to happen unless you have the foundation. You're not going to get the money, you're not going to get the success, you're not going to get the work ethic, you're not going to get the drive, anything, what without nofap. If you're addicted as much as I am, over time, back in the day, I oddly enough, when I had the most friends, I was probably the most addicted, but I wasn't really watching porn, I would say, but still. And maybe it is something that happens over time. Maybe it's something that gets worse and worse and worse over time. But I've always felt invisible. I've always felt like I repel women and people in general. I've always felt like I don't matter. I always felt like I have a struggle that most people don't. I have a social awkwardness. All this is porn addiction related. And over time, I've always been unlucky, which is, nofap brings you luck. Nofap brings you good luck and all that. Except for when it comes to hitting animals with your car, apparently. I hit a bunny this morning. That makes me so sad. I love bunnies. At least I hope I don't hit a deer again like I did the last nofap journey. But, yeah, so getting friends has always been a struggle. I actually made my first friend last year in a long time that I worked with at my current job, but I was on the other side. But then I got moved, and then he quit and got another job, so we kind of drifted apart. We talked some. We played a game not long ago online, and I got him to help me move into this apartment. I had to pay him, but I guess I didn't have to pay him. I offered, but still. He's a good guy, but like I said, it's still. I noticed though, nofap did help me kind of be friends with him a little bit better. So I'm thinking that has something to do with it. I'm thinking that my nofap journey might bring friendships to my life. I believe that is the reason why it's gotten so much harder. And it's not, in relationships, it's like the two easiest, I would say, hookups, basically. There weren't really hookups. I was dating them, but the second girl I ever had sex with, she, we met so easy. It was not difficult to talk her into wanting to connect. Not necessarily just to have sex, but I would say just to start talking on the phone, and then she came over, and then we of course had sex. But it seems so much easier. And like I said, the second girl I ever had sex with, for those of who hasn't followed, the first girl I ever had sex with, my first, it felt like that was like I pretty much settled for her, because it's like I spent so much time being unwanted, being like never getting attention from women. Like, it was hard to get anyone to talk to me. And soon, about a week after I got cheated on, and me just trying to search for a girl, because they say to get over an ex is to get under another ex or another girl. So I took that advice and I was like, all right, let's have sex with somebody and let's see how it goes. And the fact that it was so easy to find someone and to hook up pretty much immediately, like the comparison, like, and it was never easy after that because I was back on porn. Whenever I got cheated on, I was naturally on Nofap. I didn't know about Nofap at the time, but I was so depressed being cheated on, I could not think about porn. I couldn't think about sex because it just reminded me of being cheated on. So it's like, that was the first and only time I've ever been to the point where I was just like disgusted with the thought of it for at least about a month. And, you know, me having that seed in that long, it was crazy because everything just clicked into place, and that girl was crazy about me, and just as crazy as my ex was. And over time, she lost interest in me. I lost interest in her. She wasn't my type, really. I wasn't really attracted to her, even though she was pretty cute, sort of. But she was a little too wild for me. She had a very high body count. She used to, I guess, she sold drugs. She was just, not the good girl type that I'm usually into. And she was a little bit too wild for me. She was actually a kind of a good girl. She didn't act wild. She just had, she was messed up, I guess, deep down. But yeah. So that fizzled out. But I could tell over time she was losing interest, and she didn't seem to be crazy about me the way she was at first. And I always wondered why. I figured it was because I just never really showed her much interest. I just wasn't into her that way. It was mainly about sex. She was a rebound for me. I cared about her. She was a good girl. I liked her. I liked being around her. It was more of a friendship. I wish I could be in her life right now. That'd be cool. I'm the type of person that I want to be in all my exes' lives if I can. If we can be on good terms, it ain't just about having sex with like an ex or something. It's about like just connecting, just being on good terms, being in a positive like situation, not having bad blood. I wish I could have that with everybody. And just being able to not look back at the situation in a negative way, But and when I met the last girl I had sex with, it was the same thing. I messaged her. I knew this girl from middle school. We've been on and off on Facebook for years, and I messaged her asking her if she was hacked or something because she sent me this weird message, and I think I searched her or something, or I don't know. I think I had to search her. And then I found another account with her name on it, and then I asked her if she got hacked, and then we started talking, and she was like really interested in me. And the reason why this is weird is because girls are like rarely that interested that quickly, But on Nofap, it's just different. It's like, I don't know what it is, but girls are just like easy. At least when you're not expecting it, I guess. I don't know. And they do say people get matches more often when they're on Nofap. It's a spiritual thing. There's some frequency in the realm somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, that's my story. Friendships have fizzled out, and I'm pretty much in a reboot. A reboot of my life, and I want to change my entire identity. I want to change my mentality. I have a lot of toxic resentment, a lot of hatred for a lot of women nature and all that. A lot of people in my life that's come and gone. I want to just forgive everybody. I want to not be jealous. I don't want to be resentful. I just want to be happy. I want to love myself. I want to forgive everybody and realize that I needed to change, and I did change. And my future self, me, and maybe hopefully later this year, it might take a little bit of time to get used to, will be the guy that everybody would want to be around. And plus, Nofap will help, bring that energy up, and on top of the weight loss, So I feel good about myself because of the force of life in me, because I like what I see in the mirror, and then I'll have natural confidence. I'm hoping all this helps, and maybe it'll bring friendships in. I want lots of friendships. I want to be the life of the party. I want to be, I want options, man. I don't want to, I like playing video games. And a little update. I actually got into a game I didn't like before. Dragon Quest XI, a game I hated. I rented that game years ago on Gamefly in 2020, and I could not get into it for the life of me. And for years, I considered it a terrible game. I was like, this game is just for kids. It has no challenge. It was just, I just could not I couldn't get into it. It was not really the game itself, I would say. At least so far. Because Dragon Quest VIII is one of my favorite RPGs of all time. I don't know how it holds up today, but I want to play that again one day. But alright guys, that was my little video to give you some backstory, and like I said, somebody wanted to, in the comments, said they want to hear about my past experiences, good and bad, and that's a good bit of them. A little topic that I haven't really truly got into. Alright guys, later.